Well, good evening, folks. That didn't work at all. All right, we're just gonna get going then. Let's see. How's everybody doing tonight in the chat? I see a couple people in there. There we go. We got Ed. How you doing, Ed?
I'm doing fantastic, brother. What's happening?
Trying to figure this stuff out. Not very good at it just yet. Tony, how's it been?
Dude, doing good. I'm getting an echo. Somebody's volume on their laptop is going crazy or something.
Is the chat you hearing anything else? Because I'm not picking up anything.
I'm not hearing an echo either.
I'm on headphones. Ed, what are you watching these days?
I've been watching a lot of vintage cartoons lately. I've been watching Group Therapy Podcast. They have Saturday morning serials where they do like 4.5 hour blocks of cartoons, and they have like the commercials from that time and still in between the cartoons and stuff. And it's great. You know, see a lot of old cool toy commercials, even from like the 60s and stuff, like, you know, fake pew pew, you know, commercials and stuff with the boys jumping in the ditches and all that stuff. Is just good times, you know.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been watching X-Men 97. My daughter's been loving that. And so not 97, the original 90s X-Men.
Yeah, the original one. Yep.
She's been loving that. I've heard some mixed things about the new one. I haven't quite seen it yet, but at the same time, I don't know that I want to, but
yeah. I got I want to watch that. Travis, Mr. Wonderful, says he really enjoyed it, and him and his son watching, and his son's like a big X-Men Marvel guy.
Nice.
And then I heard other people say they weren't really, you know, that great with it. So it's, you know, no one said it sucked yet, so I guess that's a good thing.
So it's only been 2 episodes. The people that I trust watched it said it was okay, but they set up their own destruction with a couple of things. So it's going to go typical Disney Plus with stuff. That's what I worry about. But we've been watching Shogun, and we finished Masters of Air. Shogun's been amazing. I loved Masters of Air and the documentary they did afterward about the Bloody 100th. That was really good. Tony, you been watching anything?
No, I haven't watched anything lately. I just been trying to get caught up on stuff. What's that, Ed?
I said you've been watching the inside of your eyelids.
Yeah, that too. No, I've just been opening figures. It's like crazy. Everything's hitting at the same time.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm finding things in the wild. It's crazy. So I haven't even had time to, you know, watch anything extra like that. I want to watch Shogun. I want to check out 97. I want to check out some other stuff, but I haven't even got a chance to yet.
Yeah. There's always time. That kind of stuff can wait. But
speaking of films, before we get started, Matthew, I had a good chuckle on Sunday night when Ted and Aaron had no idea what Darby O'Gill and the Little People was. I had just watched it. What night was that? I watched it Friday or Saturday night on YouTube, you know, because it's something I've always watched every year. I've always wait for it to come out. And then they're like the Larry or whatever the hell. And I'm like, yeah, it's Darby O'Gill and the Little People. It's Sean Connery, some leprechauns. And, you know.
It's actually the best forced perspective that I think has ever been put on film, even to this day. It's the best forced perspective. There's only one scene where it's a little awkward, and that's when he shoves a leprechaun in the bag, and you can tell it's a dolly. But everything else is perfect and they said they blew out a power grid because of how they had to light those stages. To do the forced perspective.
Yeah, even that scene where they're shoving the leprechaun in the bag, though, it's such a fast scene that if you're not watching it like closely, you can't even tell then, right? It's like.
So have you noticed, I don't know if the YouTube version is this or not, if they use the original audio or the new audio? Because Disney went back and redubbed it because they thought the accents were too thick. My wife and I were watching the comparison videos, and we're like, how did they think that was too thick? I mean, you can understand them just fine. It's like, but we do watch a lot of foreign films and things, so we hear the accents.
So the father, I can't think of his name right now.
He retired from acting.
He sounded pretty thick with his Irish accent still, but I mean, maybe it was.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, so they just showed a couple of scenes where it wasn't just him, but he was the main one they changed it for. But that actor actually retired from acting, but Walt had him on the slate to play Darby for like 20 years before that or something. And when they finally got around to making the movie, they pulled him out of retirement to make the movie.
That's awesome.
I don't think it could have been better with anybody else.
No.
And Sean Connery hates his singing performance.
Yep.
Do you know what Darby O'Gill and the Little People is, Tony?
Hell no.
It's the only
Sean Connery's lip syncing wasn't that great in that movie anyway.
Yeah.
So.
It's the only like St. Patrick's Day movie to watch, unless you're uber violent, like watching Boondock Saints, which is also amazing. But
or the horror flick Leprechaun, which
well,
those are your choices you got.
Those are your choices.
I was out and about for St. Patty's Day. Oh.
Well, were you drinking green beer or just straight whiskey?
I was Guinness, just Guinness. That heavy ass beer. Oh God,
heavy.
I had gotten a burger and fries at the bar with a Guinness.
Oh my God. You can't get Tony,
time for a nap shit. After that shit.
You're too old for that, man.
So then me and my buddy walked to another bar, and I'm like, okay, I'm walking it off. I'm walking it off. I needed that. Oh my God, so heavy. Guinness is so heavy.
All right.
The nice thing about Guinness is you can drink one and you're good for a while, right?
I was done for a while. Yeah,
happy.
I had Long Island iced tea. I had something else,
All right. Man. So we are talking about Billy Jack. And then, so what was your guys' kind of first impressions or first experiences with this movie?
I remember watching this movie. This is one of those that was, kind of edited, but it was always on like Saturdays when I was a kid, TBS or USA, one of those channels, just one of those movies I was on for a while. My older brother, he's a couple years older than me. He turned me on to it. And, we always liked the old Kung Fu movies and stuff, then he saw this and he's like, oh, you got to watch this. And I just remember being blown away because I've always had kind of like fascination with like the Native American Indian lore and all that stuff. So like, that was just, it was just such a cool flick. And then the Kung Fu and him kicking ass all the time was just awesome,
Yeah.
And it didn't matter how fake it looked when he's like just karate chopping guys through plate glass windows. It was still cool.
I mean, you think about it at the time, we had what? We had Billy Jack and we had Kung Fu with David Carradine.
Yep.
Until we got Bruce Lee, it just wasn't quite up to par.
No.
Tony, what about you?
No, I had just watched it and it was a hard watch, man. It does not hold up.
I mean, do you remember watching it before, just recently?
To me, it wasn't. I thought he was in it more with more action, with more hapkido, and it was so much hippie stuff in it. It's like hippie.
It's a very hippie movie.
So
oh my God.
I remember
1971.
Yeah. I remember this movie very different than rewatching it this time because I only remember those really awesome parts. I remember there was hippie stuff in it, but I didn't think it was until the next two movies got really, really bad with the hippie stuff, and there was like no hapkido in it or anything like that.
Yeah. And his master's in it. Buhan, what's his name? The guy who taught him.
Yeah. He's in it for a minute, but
the Korean. Yeah, he's helping him with the stunts and everything.
Yeah.
I would definitely agree with you, Matthew, that this was not, when I watched it a couple months ago when we first started talking about it again.
It was so.
It was not the movie I remembered as a kid.
No, it was not.
You just pop out those hot spots that are really good, and then the rest just kind of fades away. But
I mean, honestly, I remember. Well, we'll get to it, but I remember two scenes from the movie. Honestly, that's all I remembered.
Yeah,
probably because it was highly edited on TV when I saw it or something.
Oh man,
yeah, I remember the scene in the store where he kicks the guys. Beats them up.
One.
And then, of course, the famous scene, right? I'm going to take my right foot and put it up against this side of your face, and there's nothing you can do about it.
There's nothing you can do about it.
The ending scene when he gets arrested and they take him away, and the people are all raising their arms, right?
So, I mean, this movie has a lot to do with a lot of different cultural aspects, and the entire series of movies deals with PTSD and from different, sources. Billy Jack is dealing with his own stuff, because they talk about it in the intro of this one. And Born Losers, the movie that came before this, didn't really. I mean, Billy Jack was almost a sideline character in that one. He was the hero, but it was all about the biker gang and the girls and the sex cult and all that weird stuff. But everybody knew who Billy Jack was, and now this one starts that whole next phase when you're invested in the school and all this other stuff. And they're really talking some hippie stuff. And it's at a time that probably those conversations needed to be had anyway, because some of it is accurate and some of it not so much, but take it for what it is. It was a kind of a preachy movie.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
But so we're going to try and get through this. This was released in 71 and then again in 73. So they had two different releases of it.
I saw the 71. Yeah.
And then there was Billy Jack Goes to Washington and the Trial of Billy Jack. And I remember the Trial of Billy Jack being all about the school and the hippie stuff.
Oh God.
Yeah, but the actor, I like the actor. His presence, I think, is really good. And you get through the martial arts stuff, but we start with a little narration from a girl who's talking about Billy Jack and how they have nothing in common. And you got this sheriff driving through town who meets up with his deputy, who we find out is doing some illegal stuff on the side, and the sheriff isn't, that concerned about it.
Go get the horses.
Typical 70s police force, right? Small town, crooked cops.
Well, it's like the sheriff can't outright say it, so he's teasing around it. So how much does horse meat go for these days? 6 cents a pound or whatever.
He knows what he's doing. Yeah.
And then you get this other conflict with the sheriff. The reason the sheriff is stopping by is because his daughter was just picked up at Haight-Ashbury, and she had been abused by several boys, and he's like, oh yeah, she'll be fine. I'm going to go do this job because it pays so well. He didn't give a damn. Yeah. He didn't give a damn. And so the sheriff goes out and picks her up, but we'll get to that. But I mean, then you have the horse rustling. You got these guys running around guiding these horses. And I don't know about you guys, but this part right here, that was pretty brutal.
It was, yeah.
With the horses falling down the cliffside, and trying to get back up. Jeez. But they didn't have the same animal rights activists that they did in the 70s. Because there's some crazy stuff, but
this is probably one of the movies that really pushed for all those animal rights in the theater, in the movies.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And so you get them chasing down the horses, and then we get the Bradley Cooper lookalike here.
Oh, it's horrible. Bernard,
whatever the heck his name is. I for whatever reason I can't see it. He looks like Bradley Cooper to me, but
a little bit. Oh my God, poor Bradley Cooper.
Poor Bradley Cooper. This guy is such a sleazebag. I mean, you can see right here he's a spoiled little brat. I mean, just from that posture right there.
Yeah.
But you see
another familiar theme of the 70s movies.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you've got we'll get to it, but the end of this movie gets compared a lot to Rambo and the end of Rambo. The Green Berets being pinned down by law enforcement and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, you got to wonder how much influence Stallone took from this movie when he wrote Rambo and got that all together, right?
I'm sure he took a lot from it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of similar themes to it.
But so the Rambo is actually based off of a novel that was written, and so they adapted it. But the original ending was very, very different from what they did. Yeah. And I'm glad they changed the ending, but that's my opinion anyway. And so you get out there and the deputy's handing over the rifle for the big boss man to start shooting And the big boss man says, well, no, that needs to go to Vernon. My boy needs to do this. And the guy over there on his other side in the blue shirt, when I was rewatching, I was like, what the hell is Billy doing there?
Wrong hat.
Wrong hat. Wrong
Yep.
hat.
Deep blue denim jacket. Yeah.
Yep. And so then he goes over to get his punk boy out of the car.
Punk.
And he's like, hell no. And he shoved the rifle back in his dad's face. And his dad's freaking pissed.
Yep.
You can definitely see Bradley Cooper in that face right there.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the cheek lines and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the hair, the nose. But anyway, then you start hearing this weird music and everybody stops and looks around. It's really odd. They're like, it's like all of a sudden all the people in the movie are hearing this music. They're like, what is that?
Yeah. They're like, yeah. How'd they just know he's coming? He made that much noise. We couldn't hear it.
we couldn't hear it. They just sensed the presence of Billy Jack coming upon them.
They already know who he is and everything already. Yeah.
Oh, everybody knows who Billy Jack is. Apparently,
Yeah.
he's the
On the reservation. Yeah. He's
on this reservation. He is the law.
He is. Yeah. Well, yeah. And so they actually talk about a little bit of his Green Beret background and his karate tricks. So they start mentioning that stuff. And then he's like, on the res, I'm the law here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brick. I that's probably how I saw it. I felt like it was on TV all the time.
It
was Saturday after the cartoons were over. This was always on.
I was gonna say that's probably how I saw it. He looks like Christian Bale. I could see that too.
A little bit,
too.
Both.
I don't believe that's true. No animals were harmed in the making of this film. I don't think that's true.
Look at that truck, man. Wow.
Oh, I know that truck's. I actually saw one of those the other day when I was out at the ranch going horseback riding.
Yeah, I think my grandfather had that truck.
But yeah, so we got these punks back here, and this guy, his name, by the way, is Dinosaur. Apparently, I guess.
Oh,
the big man who's getting ready to pull the rifle on Billy. And so
that's Dinosaur. Yep.
So he gets up there and he starts getting ready to shoot the rifle at Billy because he's like, what's one man gonna do? And so somebody's got to get the balls to do it, and so they're gonna take him out.
Yeah.
And Billy's on it. He blows the stock off the rifle and shoots enough bullets to pin everybody down. And he's quick firing this thing, man. I mean, he already did the spin cock that Arnold tried to steal in T2, right?
Yeah, for the shotgun.
With the rifle, he's firing, but man, he's just cranking on it. And I don't know if you know much about those kind of rifles, but you got to keep going with those things.
Mm-hmm. You got to keep cocking. Yeah, the lever action.
They usually only hold like five rounds too, though. So
right, that's the other thing I was thinking. I was like, he just fired 3 or 4 times there. That should be it. That thing's done.
Yeah,
looked like a 32 Winchester or something. Yeah.
It looks like a Winchester. Those usually hold 5 rounds. So
so it was pretty close.
Yeah.
If you took the time to watch it, we really appreciate you doing that. And it is kind of a tough watch. Like I said, as a kid, I remember it being very different.
Yeah. That's why it's so popular. A, because of the hippie stuff, but then B, because
hippie stuff.
It was on, and all of us young guys just liked the action part and forgot about all the other stuff that was in the movie.
Totally forgot about the rest of it.
Yeah.
And then we get the girl returning home. The sheriff brings her home. And, look at that picture right there. Isn't that the typical one? Teenage daughter, the dad.
Yeah.
Weird, yeah.
He's just sitting there and he's trying to, on one level, he's trying to connect with his daughter. On the other level, he's also, shaming her, looking down on her for all the nonsense, and daughter knows it and she's not having it. And, then she tells him that she's pregnant and she doesn't know who it's by, whether it's white, black, Mexican, Indian.
Oh my God.
Could have been any of them. So, she's
but hey,
doing stuff.
He's in the perfect 1970s dad after work gear. He's got the white t-shirt, the dark jeans, and the belt. That's all.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And he looks like he's just getting ready to take that belt off there, doesn't he? And then that's, of course, what he kind of almost does. He just isn't taking it anymore and just smacks her and tosses her out, or she runs away. She's all beat up, and then Billy comes and finds her. And, she's out on the res, I guess, and he's patrolling the res, and then takes her to the hospital. And the sheriff sees what's going on, and, I mean, it's a different time, I guess, but I don't see why he's protecting this POS.
That's weird.
Look at that fancy sheriff badge too.
Sheriff. Generic is all hell.
So you got the doctor here, and she'll be all right, and but she's pregnant. And here we get the lady. She's
Dolores
teaching
Taylor.
She's great. I actually enjoyed a lot of what she was doing in this movie, but being the conscience kind of a Billy, but
pacifist.
Well, yeah, she's pacifist, and like pacifist to the extreme.
Big time.
And she's out there and getting the girls to do barrel riding, and I think that was pretty cool, watching the girls on the horses and stuff. And then you got, so you get to see a little bit of the people around there. And so they're definitely showing off the cultural diversity of the groups of people that are involved here. It was a thing back in the 70s and 80s and 90s. We did, have people in movies that were not all white all the time. But you kind of get the the feeling that this is on the Indian reservation. You've got a lot of that. You've got a lot of mixed populations coming together and interacting with one another, which is not something that happened very frequently back then. That's for sure. But they talk about the 3 rules, right? So the school teachers got 3 rules, is like no drugs and oh gosh, I'm not following my notes. No. Dog food, yep. Bradley Cooper, weird music, rifle flip. And they talk about land rights and stuff, but they're talking about, she's got 3 rules that people can stay there, and the last one is basically you have to you have to be turned on by creating something, is what she said. So very 70s language. She's like, you have to want to create something. So there's painting, there's music, there's whatever. So they go through the looms and all that stuff, showing all the films. They talk about films. I wonder where they got the budget for that.
They borrowed that from a school.
Well, they are a school.
Yeah.
A school that accepts people from anywhere, from any background, from any whatever, and they're kind of on the reservation, so they're actually protected under different laws at that point too. So the federal government and local law enforcement can't really engage without engaging with the res law.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little extra layer of protection there, and she wants to promote the cultural art, so art from your culture. So they're promoting the Native American stuff. And then you get into this weird stuff. They call it psychodrama.
Yeah.
It's basically role playing.
Yep.
You get together, you set a scene, and then you tell everybody to go play their parts. And it's kind of interesting. I don't know. What'd you guys think?
The guy on the left was good. In other scenes, he was really taking over. Like, no, do this. He was like, I don't know, like a mini director. Telling the other guys how to act.
I did theater in high school, and this was so much like watching, practice. It was just like, yep.
Yeah, it's like, what the shit is
I mean, it's a jam session from theater class, right?
Like, exactly. I want to see him kicking ass already.
Well, exactly. they're setting the stage, but in the 70s, they took forever to set the stage for anything. There was a lot of music and cinematography or dialogue or whatever. They really took their time to go anywhere. You take a look at most of the movies from the 70s, and you could cut them down by about 75% and condense it and make a decent, TV special or something.
Oh man,
right. Hour-long drama show. That's it.
Laughlin was into that, man. He was the director, the writer, the producer. Holy crap.
Yep. And so then they get the idea of birthing Jesus, apparently.
Yeah, the black dude. Yeah, that was crazy.
It was a black dude or black woman, but anyway.
Well, that with afro.
Yeah.
It was
comes out, and you got to do that right there. This is the symbol of the movie. Now, fight the power.
Yep.
Fight the man, fight the corporation. And then at the school, you get, she's wearing a 69 Cowboys jersey. You see that?
Yes. My favorite.
And obviously she's got some enhancements, and, the girls are talking about her, and she's thinking it's, 1920s Hollywood with her eyelashes and her outfits and everything. And,
shit. And it's like, she's hot. She's the hottest one of them all.
Well, but, she's also kind of, going around.
I think she's better than everybody, yeah.
But she's also like sleeping with everybody. What's up, War Chest? And so then you get the lunch jam session, and you get the little girl who's singing her little hippie songs about
11-year-old,
people dying in war, and so she becomes a Greta Thunberg of the movie here.
Yeah. And you got the bald-headed dude in the back. His noggin is so awesome. I died laughing when I saw that.
Oh, that dude is. You watch him in anything, and he always plays the same kind of nerdy kind of character.
It's the leader of the 70s. Just paint him green.
And then you get we meet Martin, and Martin, we saw him a little earlier, but this is Martin coming down to say he wants to be apprenticed by Billy Jack, as Billy Jack is doing this whole ceremony thing that's coming up, and he's trying to play it off. It's like, are you sure you want to do this? Are you going to be man enough? What's that?
That was ridiculous, that snake thing, but that's coming.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah. But I mean, so you're setting up the reputation of Billy Jack. He's this mythical hero. This war veteran, Green Beret guy who's not accepted in any world anymore. And so he's just off living his own life and, working with this shaman up in the mountains or whatever, learning his Hapkido and his rituals and stuff.
He's Brave Star.
He is Brave Star, isn't he? Yep. Oh, dude, that's awesome. I want him back. I wish I could see something for that again. But so he's like worshiping at the feet of Billy Jack. And then you got the girl and Billy talking about going to town. And she's like, I don't really want him going to town. It's like, but I can't stop him. And he's like, well, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, they're extremely racist over there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they don't like hippies and Indians and people of color, and they're just horrible.
Anybody that's not white, they don't like. Let's just
everybody that's not white with a short hair, they hate. It's like, oh my god.
Yep.
It's legit.
If your hair's too long, they want nothing to do with you. This little town's a piece of shit town, that's for sure. But
the song "Signs," it came out of this town, Tony.
Right. Exactly. That's it. But you also start developing that relationship between the two of them, and they're like, there's a connection there between the two of them, right? You're seeing some of that, and then you hear the girl singing a song about Billy Jack. This girl is moaning on about a song about Billy Jack.
Janis Joplin here, yeah.
Yep. And all the girls are hanging out and doing their thing, but the one girl's always asking about Billy, and she's singing about Billy, and so they're building this mystery about Billy Jack. right? So all this is set up for, hey, this dude's something weird, something special, something interesting.
He's mythical.
Yeah.
The stud.
But people still in Santa Fe still dress like this. Yeah, that's for sure. That dress doesn't ever change. I mean, I go there and I try to get a new poncho every time I'm there.
Freaking Dolores Taylor, the big old huge collar and a tie.
Oh yeah. And here we got the Freedom Bus, and the hippies are all giving the peace sign to everybody in town, and everybody in town's like, "Fuck off, Freedom Bus." And literally, they all come out of the bar to stare at the ruckus.
And all of a sudden, it's it's the outsiders take over.
Yeah, it's the greasers versus the
Socials,
right? Socials, yeah,
and the Cowboys mixed in.
Yeah. So they all come piling out of this bar because they hear a bus drive into town. A bus? I mean,
well, you got to remember, it was a pretty small town. There was not much exciting happening there.
Well, I guess.
Yeah.
Were they playing music out of the bus?
Inbreeding.
Did they have big speakers blasting their hippie music out there or something? Or were they just...
No, but they all got drinks.
They all got drinks. They walked out of the bar with their drinks in their hands, because you could walk out in the drinks in your hand in the 70s. It was fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just like New Orleans. It's always fine in New Orleans. It was fine in the 70s.
Fine in Vegas.
Whatever's in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Yep.
You could do that on 6th Street in Austin too, when I was in the Army down in the 90s.
I would very much disagree with this, because there were a lot of martial arts movies before this one. Not many in the United States, and the ones from the United States came like in the form of Kurosawa films and samurai films, which those are martial arts films too. But if you're talking about empty hand martial arts, maybe.
It might be the first totally Americanized martial arts film for sure.
Right,
how weird Hapkido was the one showcased.
I freaking hate Hapkido. That's another story. And so then we got the barbershop, the quintessential 1970s barbershop, where everybody's
can't have a movie without a barbershop.
All the racists except the doctor.
Except for the doctor. Yeah. Everybody said, well, I don't know about the sheriff. I don't think the sheriff's too bad, but
the sheriff was kind of turned on to he like turned the leaf or was something. He was like defending the school a little bit.
Well, I mean, the sheriff wanted to do what was right legally. And also he knew the teacher lady and was like, hey, he wanted to protect her. Well, the white woman, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. But and so they're kind of plotting and scheming and convicting on all the stuff that's going on in town. And then we get the inside of the bar, and there's your little wimp again, and he decides to make a bet. He wants to get one of those little squaws out there. And they're like, she won't even look at you. And they're like, all right, $50 or whatever it was. And so he goes out to go hit on the little hippie chick and try to score with her, because he's never been laid. He's just been a spoiled brat his whole life, living up to daddy's programs. So he goes out there and hits on her, and
horse shack there.
I had that hair in like kindergarten.
I believe it.
And then he's like, I'm Bernard Posner. He's like, oh, that's really great. Like, she's totally blowing him off. He's like, so what's your name?
Up.
Well, that's a weird name. What's your last name?
Yours.
How did you not see that coming? I mean, you got to be a fucking dumbass to not know that was coming.
Dumb shit.
Bernard doesn't look like the smartest, tool in the box. So, I mean.
Well, clearly not, as we'll see later, too.
Oh, my God.
And then we get the ice cream shop, and we have this clearly not white person with a girl getting ice cream. I'm just saying.
This pissed me off. can't have no ice cream here.
The whole scene, or
no, the whole scene about him being so like, again, like, man, racist against the hippies and whoever else wasn't.
Oh shit!
Like, damn. Uh-oh.
Matthew fell.
Camera down.
Yeah, no, this is
tear that place apart, dude.
This is hard to watch, because I don't understand it. You guys don't understand it. It's not something that computes with any of us. But I mean, it was a standard of the time back then.
Yep.
It hasn't been since. No matter what people try to tell you, it's not like that for the most part today. There are some places that are like that, I'm sure, but
there wasn't many places left in 1971 that were still like that, honestly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't imagine, but I mean, that kind of faded out in the 60s, really.
Yeah. But this movie took it to the extreme, right? I mean, it was also, if you read like IMDb's like description of this movie, it's great because it's like it says Billy Jack versus the white Democrats of.
Wow.
It's true though. It's true. That's what they were.
Yeah, that's what it said in IMDb. It's Billy Jack versus the white Democrats.
Yeah, Posner was a Democrat supporter for sure.
Yeah.
It's like Robert Byrd, the head of the Klan in West Virginia.
Yep.
But yeah, here's Martin coming in because with all of his buddies, and they want ice cream. That's all. They just want a little ice cream, and the guy's just ignoring him. And he's like, "Hey,
Martin.
Hey, I don't know his name, Martin, whatever." But there he is, looking full chicote right there. I'm just saying.
His little underbite.
Definitely looks like the guy they credited for that role.
Oh yeah, not so much. So I don't know if we talked about it on stream or not, but the guy that's credited for this role was 29 years old and is Anne Rice's husband, and is a white dude.
Yeah.
And Robert Beltran.
Anne Rice. Yeah.
Robert Beltran was 18 years old at the time of the making of this and looks exactly like that man right there. If you've watched him on Star Trek Voyager or anything else that he's done, that's what
Robert Beltran's awesome. Yeah, he was in Lone Wolf McQuade.
Yep. I love Lone Wolf. That's another good one.
That's one of my favorite. That's like one of my favorite Chuck Norris movies ever.
Well,
that was another one that was on Saturdays all the time.
Oh yeah,
we need to do
sure.
We need to do that one.
we sure do. Maybe that should be the next one that we look at.
And he was trying to. It's like, is he trying to be Clint Eastwood? Because Chuck is doing a great job of it to me. He did a great
yeah, right. So did you ever see the movie Sidekicks?
Yes, I only like one part of that, and it was the nunchuck demonstration. That was incredible. When she started going back in his mind, and he turned into the white ninja, and that demonstration was insane. I was like, whoa, that's some Bruce Lee speed right there. That's crazy.
Nunchucks are the stupidest weapon ever.
Oh my god! Yeah, the farmers, right? The farmers made them or something.
Well, there's all kinds of theories about what it is. It's supposed to be like a flail for farming or something.
Yeah,
to beat that stuff down, and then some people say it was a wagon hitch or something like that. There's all kinds of discussion about what it was. It's a dumbass fucking weapon. I'm just saying.
Oh, Bruce. Well, Bruce did it for the movies, yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean,
the practice, and whatever. So.
Well, it looks great, and you can flip it around, and it looks awesome. But if you actually hit somebody with one of those, do you know what happens?
It comes back and hits you.
Yes, every time. Not every time, but you
gotta follow through. Whatever you do, you gotta follow.
You gotta follow through.
If you don't follow through, it'll hit you right back. Yeah,
right back in the head. Absolutely. And they were banned in the UK. They were banned in a lot of places.
And they were banned here.
But in the UK specifically, because it was so egregious that the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, according to the UK, because they couldn't use the word ninja because that was also banned. They had to change his weapon into the grappling hook type of thing because they didn't want nunchucks being shown on screen to kids.
Jeez.
That's how extreme some of that stuff went.
There's a lot of historical weapons, though, that you just look at and just have to shake your head like, what the hell were these people thinking? But whatever worked back then, right?
Yeah. Well, and that was the point of Okinawan weapons, was they were weapons of convenience, right? They were tools. They were my favorite Okinawan weapon is the Eiku, the boat oar. I think that's a badass weapon.
Musashi used a boat oar.
Yes, he did, and he killed his first opponent at the age of 12 by challenging him to a duel, going up in a tree, waiting for him. So he arrived early. The guy got there thinking that Musashi was late. He jumped out of the tree and killed him.
Yep.
And then later in life, and later in life, he didn't like killing people with a sword. So he said, I'm just going to use a wooden sword. And then he was killing people with wooden swords.
Yep.
Badass mother back in the day.
Oh man. I've got this incredible book called the Life and Writings of Miyamoto Musashi, and it has everything he's ever written.
Yeah, and my son has that book.
And letters that were written about him.
Yep.
And they put it all into context, and they say, hey, make your own decisions. This is not a book about judgments, but some people say he was a barbarian. Some people say he was a genius. We all know it's somewhere in between, but these letters kind of go through his lineage and talk about him and his obsession with not bathing, because bathing was weakness and a potential time for attack and all kinds of stuff that he did. That's why his latter part of his life, he lived in a cave writing the stuff down.
Yeah, that animated cartoon on Netflix, Onimusha, has Musashi in it, and the animation is fantastic.
I got to see that. Is it based off the video game?
I'm not sure. I haven't messed with the video game, but
I used to play that video game back in the day.
This guy is Miyamoto Musashi. You gotta check it out, and dude, it's awesome.
One of the best samurai games I ever played was a game called Kengo and Bushido Blade. Those games are awesome.
Oh man.
All right, but as they're sitting there, and then Bernard walks in with Dinosaur, and he's like, I don't think we have a problem here. All we got to do is make your non-white friends white by pouring flour on them. Apparently,
that is in so many other movies when they did this. I'm like, whoa, this is kind of, it's in like American History X.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, they got to find a way to whitewash these kids because then you can serve them ice cream because it'll be okay then. Because it's obviously
just take it and just go ahead. Does it 3 times in a row.
Well, it's a humiliation thing, and then when he goes for the kid, Martin tries to stop him and gets his ass kicked.
Martin just getting his ass kicked all over this movie.
All over this movie.
Well, that guy that plays Dinosaur, man, he's a big dude. Right?
He is a big dude.
That's a big dude, and you can see why they call him Dinosaur.
John McClure. Yeah.
Yep.
He haven't done any other movies except this, I guess. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I was looking for him.
He might have done something, stunt work or something.
He probably did a bunch of stuff that was non-credited.
Probably.
Look at that Jeep in the background.
And then we just see Billy Jack pulling up in the background.
Yeah.
In the Jeep. Yeah. Bernard.
And Bernard's, he thinks he's in control of the situation.
With his yellow shirt.
It looks like our condo shirt.
Interesting. He's camoed for the jungle.
Curious George's friend.
He just needs the big hat.
The man in the yellow hat.
He needs
man with the yellow hat. Yellow shirt.
He needs Billy's hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that dinosaur, dude. He's standing above like the window frame in that picture.
What's her name was cute. What's her name in the Up Yours? She was pretty cute.
Well, yeah, that's why Bernard was trying to hit on her.
Oh yeah. I don't know what her real name is. I'm looking up the cast right now, and if they're not blue, you can't even look them up.
Oh yeah.
Highlighted on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Gotta go on IM.
I'm sure there's a bunch of people in this film that weren't really actors, or they were in acting school and stuff, because I'm sure that they grabbed as cheap a budget as possible, so they were hiring, professional actors.
I didn't look it up, but this could not have been a very high budget movie. I'm just
no.
Just go out and shoot it.
Yeah.
Billy Jack walks in and he sees the situation as exactly what it is.
And he's just it's just burning in him. It's coming out.
It is so burning in him, and you can see it in his face.
Right? Yeah.
He is.
I try to keep everything peaceful. I try not to let it take control.
Yep. And, he is all about this. All right. Good night, Warchest. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, he is burned up by this, and he's ready to explode, and he's trying to keep it in and trying to listen to all of the pacifist teaching, but no, they decide to take it too far, and he knocks the guy out the freaking window, and
dinosaur gets killed almost.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, if that was real glass, it probably would have killed him, but it was the stunt glass, right? So the candy glass. And you see the Corvette out there, but I just love this picture. I'm like, yeah, he's like, and who the fuck is next?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You get to see some of his skills that he's going through there. I couldn't get a clean shot of most of it, but it's not that.
Yeah, this
good.
scene happens pretty fast with the moves and stuff on this part.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I was like, oh, okay.
No, it wasn't bad, and it was quick and it was efficient, and it's exactly what you want to see in a martial arts scene, being quick and efficient, and just it's done. I didn't put it in here, but they had the whole scene where, I guess I did. It's coming up because after that, he goes over there and
wipes it off. Yeah.
Well, he's talking about this memory will be seared in this kid's mind forever of what happened this day.
Yep.
And he wanted to turn it as positive as he could for this person, for this kid. And so that they would remember that there are people out there who will help you. There are people out there who will pay attention. Not everybody's an asshole like Bernard or this fucking ice cream salesman asshole. So he's trying to give a little peace and hope to this people. And then somebody comes and cuts an engine, which we see as obviously Billy Jack's Jeep. And somehow Billy knows this, right?
Yeah, I love that scene.
He thinks it. Like,
he's like,
told him you better get out of here because they're going to kill you. So he was always on the lookout after that.
Somebody's messing with my car.
Somebody just messed with my car because it's right out the freaking window and he could have seen it. But anyway, he looks off into the distance, even though if he looked out the freaking window, he could have seen somebody at his Jeep cutting his cables.
Yep.
Because it was right behind Bernard when he was there, right? We saw where he parked the Jeep. But there he is. He's taking off his boots and his socks, and you got these two old men, like those old Muppet guys, just watching things in the background.
Just staying there.
Oh, what the heck's going on? That looks like
milkshake.
I love all the people that were in that little diner or ice cream shop, and he kicked two of the guys' asses, and no tables are disturbed or anything. It's just,
Nope. And those two guys, they're just sitting there. They didn't get up. They didn't back up. They didn't leave. They didn't run out the door.
They're waiting for their order.
Yep. Need that milkshake and my fries.
This shit doesn't concern me. I'm white. I'm protected. I don't need to worry about it.
Yep.
But, the one guy with the hat, he looks like a city councilman later, but. So he takes off his. Yeah, right. He's waiting for the spirits of whatever. So he takes off his boot, sock, and he goes out there.
Kwai Chang Kane on it.
It's straight up Kwai Chang Kang. I think Kung Fu used some of this. But he's walking around there, and he runs into those guys, and he turns, and he runs into a bunch of other guys, and you see this scene building with, I don't know, 20 guys are surrounding him. Where the fuck does Posner have 20 guys to come out?
Come out of the woodwork like, okay.
Billy just like nothing. Yeah. He taking regular townspeople. I don't know. I mean, they're not all his ranchers. I know that because those ranchers got work to do. But there we are. And there's Posner coming out of his car with his swagger looking like Boss Hogg.
Oh my God.
And here's the discussion right there. Posner comes up to him, has a discussion with him, and he's like, put my foot side of your head, and there ain't nothing to do about it. And he's like, oh, yeah? He's like, yeah. What's up, Largo? Good to see you.
Then
Thanks
he
for
say
stopping
something
by.
like, you think you could take all 20 of these guys or something like that? And he's like, yeah.
I'm going to do this just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
Well,
he says something like, I don't see any other way to do it or something like that. I don't see any way out of it. So
he's like, do you think you can take these 20 guys? And he's like, well, it looks like I don't have much of a choice, but I'll tell you what I can do is I can put my foot upside your head.
Yep.
And there ain't nothing you can do about that.
Yeah. Inside crescent kick. Boom.
And he's like, oh, yeah. And he's like, fuck yeah. Inside crescent kick, bam, knocks his ass down. And then the fight begins. Posner goes down, and then he jumps in and kicks these two punks right there. That guy just walked into that kick. I mean, look at that dumbass face on him.
Waiting to get whipped.
The best part is, though, is like Posner wasn't even knocked out. With that kick, Posner would have been just on the ground.
Yeah.
Cold.
Holding his face and bleeding. Yeah.
Well, if you go back and look at it, too, the physics are wrong on how he landed, but that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, true story.
He would have landed totally different.
Mm-hmm.
I have knocked somebody out with that kick before. I know how they land.
You almost spin him around, yeah.
Yep. And then, he's looking like his badass posing and does his flying leap kick, his double. This is the stupidest fucking thing ever. I mean, this is top keto. Movie foo bullshit. Because I'm like, okay, maybe you knock him down, but your ass is on the ground, and the other 20 guys that are there are jumping your ass right there, and you're fucking dead.
Yep. Okay, what you can do? They're jumping your ass.
Because there's no way he's doing that and then landing on his feet.
The drop kicks never worked very well in the WWE either. So
he's doing the Donnie Yen right there.
He's doing the Donnie Yen. He's doing Liu Kang, man. He's going
bicycle kick.
Well, Billy Jack's like a cat. He always lands on his feet. No matter
always lands on his feet. Yeah, he's Billy Jack. He's got superpowers.
That's why he had to take his shoes off so he could actually, feel the ground.
Chang. Yep.
He had to pull the Kwai Chang. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Guilty pleasure, cheesy, wholesome violence. In a pacifist movie, there's more violence in this pacifist movie.
In this hippie movie.
Hey, Largo, we were talking about it earlier. And it's like, I remember this movie better than it is because watching it again was difficult. And I watched it again twice because there's so much in between. And I get it. It's slow 70s buildup and character development and all this other stuff. But they could have done it a lot more efficiently and gotten to the stuff we wanted to see. But the underlying creators of this movie were about teaching people about PTSD and inequality and racism and all this other stuff. And so there's a lot of
it was Laughlin.
Yeah.
I wonder when Largo last saw it, because I know Largo's the same age. Well, he's a couple years older than I am, actually. So he probably watched it on Saturday morning too, or Saturday afternoon. So I wonder when the last time he watched it was.
Yeah, I mean, I used to, like I said, I saw this movie a bunch of times on TV for sure.
The budget was $800,000.
Really?
That was probably for renting out the town.
Yeah. Well, and res access, right?
Yeah.
Because they clearly had some res access.
Yep.
And there he is, Mr. Badass. I mean, they did some
100,000 of it went to Billy Jack's hat and denim coat. I mean,
yeah. It was a success. Yeah.
No, it was a huge success, and that's why they made 2 more movies after this.
Yep.
Yeah. Made 32.5 million, and then rentals too.
Well, and that's what it comes down to is the same thing that we were talking about earlier. Is people remember this scene and the one later on, and that's what sticks in your mind. And in the 70s, you didn't see stuff like this, right? And so when our previous commenter was talking about the martial arts movies in the 70s, this was close to one of the first, for sure, that made it over here to the United States. besides the old, kung fu movies that were coming over. Yeah, we all saw it a bunch of times on Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
Go watch it
on
again.
Saturday mornings after Beastmaster.
Yeah, go watch it again.
Right?
You'll see Beastmaster. And yeah, there's so many of those things, man.
Yep.
Largo, I implore you, go watch it again and see what you think of it now. Because our memories of it are so much better than I think it actually is, especially with the context moving forward. And then you got the guy that sneaks up behind him and whacks him upside the head.
Yeah, that's all going to happen every time with that many opponents.
Yeah, you can't. That's too many people. You're not going to be able to fight them all off. That's not realistic. But he was doing what he could.
Yeah.
But then the sheriff shows up, and he starts doing. I don't know when it was first discussed, but I know To Kill a Mockingbird was the first time I remembered it happening. How you disarm a mob. An angry mob comes to do something, and you know them, and you're law enforcement or you're trying to quell them down. You call out each individual person. You name that person, and you talk about something that's going on in their life. And you name another person, and you start talking about their life. And then the mob becomes a group of individuals, and once they become a group of individuals,
they start thinking. Yeah,
they start thinking.
You got to do the Wyatt Earp to him.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Wyatt did it too in Tombstone.
Yep.
Yeah, saying, how's your family? How what's going on? He stops this guy from doing it, but then he talks down the mob and gets him out of there, and gets Billy out of there, and Posner's not real happy about it, but he's like, whatever. And here we go. We got Martin riding a horse he shouldn't be riding. All the kids are telling him you shouldn't be doing that, and he's doing it. I don't know if he thinks he's cool. He wants to be a man. He wants to
be Billy Jack.
The lamest dude ever.
He's totally lame.
He gets taken advantage of so bad. He just gets his ass whipped, falls off the horse. Come on, man, you're native.
Falls off the freaking horse. Almost gets paralyzed. Has to be taken into the hospital. And the doc's talking about him, and she's like, "Oh, look, want a flower?" And so,
hippie time.
Look at that fucking medical light on that bed. My God.
It's about to
suntan he's got a suntan under that thing. Not that Martin needed it, but I mean,
you're gonna get radiation poisoning from that light.
It's about to scan for adamantium bones.
Yep.
Dude, you're seriously getting radiation poisoning from that light. So she comes in to comfort Martin while everybody's talking about it, and they're like, okay, this is going to start a problem because they're going to know she's out here and what's going to happen with the girl. And so they come out there to harass everybody, and you see Bernard kind of like being the passive asshole in the background. You see the deputy, he wants his daughter back. And you see Posner, shoving his gut around, throwing his weight around, trying to bully everybody. And the sheriff is trying to kind of calm things down because this is back at the school, as they come in, serve a search warrant, right? And they're like, we have every right to search this place. And they're like, no, you don't. This is the res. We have our laws. But we don't have anything to hide. So you can search whatever you want. And the kids are like, fuck.
Yeah, the little girl's like, this sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna find my stash.
I like her. She's awesome.
And the sheriff's talking to her about, hey, this is going to keep escalating. We got something. We got to come up with a plan at least. Get this girl back home, or figure out what we're gonna do with the girl, or where's Billy Jack, and trying to speak some wisdom to the woman, and she's like, "There's nothing I can do. I don't know shit."
Yeah.
If I knew where Billy Jack was, he's like, if you knew where Billy Jack was, would you tell me? I said, you know the answer to that.
You know me. Come on now, yeah.
So, you know, the
Dolores
town
Taylor
knows.
and her little hair tufts
Yeah.
bug the shit out of me.
Then the deputy gets up there and he's trying to plead, but everybody's
While they're singing.
and they're trying to overtalk him. You know, they're just going about it, and they're
What's
trying
wrong with
to
you people?
It's like, what's wrong with you? I'm looking for my daughter.
You gotta give me back my daughter so I can beat her some more and abuse her.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
After I kicked her out, after I beat the shit out of her.
After I beat the shit out of her. Yeah.
After I found out she was pregnant and beat the shit out of her.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, come on, you got to beat the shit out of her, right? So she'll lose the baby, so you don't have to worry about the baby, right? I mean, that's.
Hey,
yeah.
Babies are expensive, and probably wasn't making that much
So
money in the
bad.
70s as a deputy.
That's why he was killing ponies.
Yep.
Yeah.
For 6 cents a pound.
For 6 cents a pound on badass horses out there.
Oh God, that just pisses me off even just thinking about it. You know,
he has to take Barbara away to his little hidey hole.
His little hidey hole, yeah. So he's got some ruins up in the cliff sides there. So he's got to go hide her out. Now we've got the city council.
This is horrible.
Hey, you know what? It's like a regular city council. I don't know if you've ever been to a meeting or not, but it's as dumb as this shit.
The union meetings are like.
So they're going about and they're trying to put this ban on the school, and they're like, this has nothing to do with the school. This has to do with Billy Jack. Billy Jack caused the ruckus. And you know, it's like there are some people that agree with you, and yeah.
What did he say?
Yes, I did, Lawrence.
Babies are expensive.
4 fucking kids later, man. Still broke as shit.
Hey, yeah, Terrence.
Babies are expensive and your mama's not around.
Yeah.
No kidding. Terrence St. John, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you. Enjoy your time at Toylanta. That's a good one.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's this weekend, isn't it? Damn.
So have some fun there. Show us some pics of it later. And
I'm sure Terrence will go home with a haul and a half like most of his adventures.
Yep.
But you see, Posner's on the council here, and he's trying to manipulate the council, and the doctor's on the council, and you know, you got people saying, "Hey, it's not there. You know, this isn't what you think it is, whatever." And everybody's yelling and screaming, and then you get this little girl pulling her Greta Thunberg. She's doing her full Greta Thunberg here. She's reading a passage, and they're like, "Oh, that's very nice. That's so nice. Who told you to read that? Who told you to read that? Because obviously you didn't come up with it on your own." And she's like, "Why did anybody have to come up with it on my own? Do you know who read that? That's from Adolf Hitler, and you liked it, and so you're all fascists."
She is my hero in this damn movie. Screw Billy Jack. And the girl to her right. She was the one who was like, "This sucks.
This sucks."
Yeah. They aren't all hippies, they're just regular kids.
It's funny as hell.
They're living in the commune. This is Waco.
And then this dude in the background starts playing the Star Spangled Banner on the saxophone as they're trying to figure out as they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. And some of the council members agree to go out to see the school for what it is.
Yeah.
So they can get a better perspective on things. But you know, a lot of nonsensical arguments and all kinds of bullshit going on. People just being pissy with each other, which, like I said, is like every city council.
They're clapping to the Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah, yep.
There we go.
There he is.
That last part, you see
Hesseman
and in the courtroom, and he's talking about it. But here we see him here playing his typical role of the DJ from WKRP in Cincinnati. As what's that? As they're doing their driving in the car, smoking pot routine. And then they go back and forth doing their little skit. And then they pull the city councilman in there and get him to play a part.
Yeah. And they enjoyed it. That was cool. That was the coolest part. They got all into it and they loved the school.
Well, yeah, I thought that was great because
that was really cool. Yeah,
he got to play the kid where
yeah,
Hesserman's playing the dad, and his wife was the disenfranchised teenage girl, and boy, that woman played the part just right.
they were perfect.
She got totally into it, and she started throwing stuff out there, and this whole scene was awesome to flip it on the council, and to get them to see the perspective of the teenagers, the kids,
and they got excited. They were like, "I'm all for this. This is awesome." It's like, it's like literature. It's like they're teaching them acting, and I'm like, we need this over here. Yeah.
So it's not even really acting; it's role playing.
It's role playing. Yeah.
It's like put yourself into the situation.
Theater.
It's theater. Well, it's true theater, right?
Yeah.
How would you react in this situation?
It's basically what you do in group therapy. It really, honestly, is what you do in group therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it. Yeah.
And I really like this too. And they call it psychodrama or whatever, but it actually was one of the parts besides the fight scenes that I was like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah, this was really cool. Yeah,
I like what they're doing to the psychology of these people because they're flipping it on their head.
They got in there. Yeah, they got in there. Yeah.
And they're saying, put yourself in this person's shoes.
And they did. Yeah.
And for whatever it's worth, I thought it's a great experiment, and I'm glad that the council appreciated that experience. They're like,
they did.
I can see the value in this because now I have a new perspective. And so, this is the hippy dippy bullshit that's in there, but it's not really bullshit. If you actually do put yourself in somebody else's position, if you could actually think from their perspective, you can come to a different understanding on things and say, oh, well, I can see where they're coming from. Whether I agree or not, that's another story, but you can at least have a conversation at that point. So this opens the conversation borders here. And this was weird. I forgot what this was about.
Yeah. Barbara is not really comfortable back there.
Yeah, no, they're riding horses. Oh, they're going out to the ritual.
Oh, they're doing the insanely stupid rattlesnake biting.
So they're doing the snake ritual so he can become a shaman or go to the next level or whatever. So they're doing this Native American ritual. Apparently, I don't know anything about it being an actual thing, but
yeah, pretty insane. You'd be dead. That many rattlesnake bites.
Yeah, so he's got to let the snake bite him, and then he's got to allow his body to push out the poison. I don't understand.
Apparently, he's immune to the venom.
Well, so maybe it's like iocane powder. You take little doses of it and get exposed to it over time. And you're
backstage, he was getting bit left and right.
So we get this ritual where he's sitting there with the snake, and everybody disappeared, and all of a sudden they're in a different set of ruins. Whatever. That's another story. And he gets bit 6 or 7 times. He gets bit 6 or 7 times, then he finally takes the snake off, and
he'd have been dead.
He's so dead. Right there.
No anti-venom, nothing. He holds on to that feather, boy. He's on his mission.
He goes down and he's doing his vision quest, whatever it is, and letting the poison go through him, coming up with this great vision that's going to bring enlightenment to everybody around him. And guess what? He wakes up.
This is powerful. Billy Jack. Arizona rattlesnake can take me down. What?
That's right, man.
He's risen from the dead. As he goes around and he's preaching his wisdom. There's Bernard up on the cliff
with his BB gun.
with his fucking BB gun. Hey,
Daisy.
Hey, screw you, man. I had that Daisy BB gun with the 22 scope on it. I did too. I was picking off turtles in the pond near my house. So
now I'm aiming at Valaver's figures.
There he is, right in his scopes.
The reticle shot.
Yeah.
Right there in his scopes, man. He could end the whole problem right there.
Then that's when the whole tribe comes out and you never see him again.
Whole tribe comes out and they're all praising him, and he's preaching his vision for what's going on.
Never foamed at the mouth once.
Shit, man! If you know,
bite marks didn't swell up or nothing, man. They just
yeah,
nothing. Yeah, if you know people that have been poisoned, you know, foaming at the mouth, the swelled up lips and tongue.
That's the sissiest diamondback rattlesnake I've ever heard of.
Well, you saw it. It didn't even have any freaking fangs when he took it off of him. He peeled it. He grabbed it, and its mouth was open. You saw there was no fangs.
He put it in a choke a little bit. How dare you bite me 17 times?
Yeah.
How dare you bite me 17 times and leave this red paint on me and without any fangs?
Yeah. You can see where the fangs were supposed to be, but there's no fangs there.
Right. and then Dino sees, hey, look at this. There's Barbara. And who's that with him? Oh, that looks like Martin. Oh, no. We got to do something about that nonsense.
I forgot how he gets his foot hurt. He got his foot hurt in the malt shop or what?
No, that was when he got thrown from the horse.
From the horse.
Oh, okay.
And so they drive into town and they drop Martin off at the hardware store, and the girls go do something else and leave Martin all by himself in the hardware store, where they're like, well, I don't know if you noticed it or not, but they did change shirts. I forgot to get a shot of that. But Bernard and Dino were wearing the exact same shirt.
I didn't notice that.
They were wearing and in the next scene they're not. So they changed Bernard's shirt a little bit, but they're both wearing. But it's totally gay. Whatever.
Solidarity.
But here's old daddy threatening the Indian boy with choking him with a part, and then they're like, he was trying to steal something, right? Yeah. And the shop owner's like, yeah, but you're not going to press charges, are you? No. And the teacher's like, no, because you're a good man, right? Being told everybody's an asshole in this scene. But this is the one where they changed Barnett's shirt in this scene. So the previous one, they were wearing the same one. In this one, he's wearing a slightly different one. But they're still
zip.
they're still red and blue. And basically the deputy's threatening him. He's like, hey, bring me back my daughter.
Yeah, Kenneth Tobey, the deputy, he's been in a lot of stuff.
A lot of stuff, yeah.
No. Oh yeah.
Well, you know what?
Adam 12. Oh my god.
The deputy Posner's been in a whole bunch of shit.
Lawman, I Spy. Oh my gosh.
Yep. And then we come back to the school, and there's Hessman, belly exposed.
Hessman is straight hippie, right?
Straight hippie.
Look at those shiny brown pants, man. You can't be more hippie than that.
Shiny brown pants. Those are slick, aren't they?
Shiny disco pants. Speaking moistly, what's up?
What's up, man?
Mm-hmm.
How's it going? And then classic 70s race relations. Yeah. Well,
cringe is definitely it. Yep.
Well, but
the beginning of the commune.
the commune stuff is more annoying to me than whatever else. The race stuff, yeah, that shit happened.
Yeah.
Okay,
his name was OK Corrales.
OK Corrales. Yeah. Remember that? It's like, what?
I even asked him, what's your name? He's like,
well, so if you remember, I almost put that picture in there. I almost talked about that because he's like, and your name, sir? OK Corrales. And they start getting on to him about it. It's like, what? Yeah. You don't like Mexicans?
Well, yeah, your name. No, it's because your name's OK Corrales.
I knew a Caecilius. I didn't know a Corrales.
Yeah.
That'd be a good name for your channel, Tony. OK Corrales.
Oh man. And then we get to the street scene. And so the school decides that they're going to send a small contingent of people within the confines of the curfew limitations between 4 and 6. They can send 6 people to the town or whatever. And so they send some players to do a street scene of a mugging. And so we get up here and he comes up and starts threatening him. And then the director guy comes in and critiques him, and they're starting to move around and they're starting to do stuff. And then all of a sudden the sheriff shows up and you're like, oh shit, the sheriff's going to blow this out of proportion because they're just playing a game.
I thought I was tripping too. I thought he's like, for real.
Yeah. And well, that's the point, right? You're thinking it is real. And then all of a sudden he starts playing the fucking dumbass cop, you know, the idiot, because he's playing along with this shit.
He's playing along with it. Yeah.
And you're like, wait a minute. And even Hessman calls him out on it. He's like, no, you're supposed to take control of the situation. You're the police officer. You're supposed to be the guy in charge.
Oh, yeah. Playing along. I don't want to drop it. I don't want to drop my gun. It has bullets in it.
Well, take the bullets out.
Take them out, stupid.
So it looks like they're manipulating the sheriff into being a fucking dumbass. And Hessman is critiquing him on his police technique because he's not controlling the situation. No, man, you don't take the gun off of me and turn your back to me. You got to focus on this. And, you know, and then they switch hats and they do this whole thing. And then everybody comes up because the scene's over, whatever, they're done with it. And the sheriff was on the whole thing. Oh, you knew it was happening. The players didn't know, but they had to, you know, and everybody's like, oh, that was so much fun. That was so cool. Oh, hippy dippy bullshit.
Hippie bullshit. Hippie bullshit.
Let's pass out some flowers.
Let's pass some flowers.
Not a joint in the whole pack of them.
Well, so Jackass guy fought in the Butterbean store. They did the ice cream shop one, and they did the one where they threatened Martin in the hardware store. And then you get Bernard, who picks up the slutty girl and takes her out to. What's that?
My lady right there.
Yeah.
69 Cowboy jersey.
Well, I mean, come on, man. I mean, she's got 69 written on a Cowboys jersey. What are you going to do?
That's awesome.
She looks about 30 years old.
I know.
And so he gets out there and he starts threatening her and basically gets her to take her top off, take her bra off.
I feel so bad. I was rooting for Bernard in this scene.
Well, I mean, she is playing the slut character, right? She's well
endowed with him too.
Well, she's well endowed, and you know, she knows what she's doing. You know, she's going out there to have sex with the guy, but then he pulls a fucking knife. Yeah, and then she's like, "Oh wait, what the fuck is this shit? I was perfectly willing to sleep with you, but now you're doing this shit." Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She even told him, yeah.
Yeah. So it dumbass stuff.
Yeah.
Trippy, skippy, unicorn, farts, and rainbows, not the way to get chicks. I don't know. In high school, it worked okay for me.
Pulling knives, not so much.
Pulling knives, not so much. No.
One of them switchblades out on chicks ain't the way to go.
And then
even if you have a Corvette.
It's fucking Corvette, man. What are you gonna do? I mean, you're gonna spooge all over it as soon as you see it, right?
Look at that switchblade. It's freaking big, dude. Jesus.
That's a huge switchblade, man. That's like the size of a Bowie knife.
I know.
Not even. Come on, that switchblade wasn't that big.
It just looks big in this picture.
In this scene, it is.
That's
supposed to stand in for his manhood there. That's why.
Oh yeah, compensation.
Oh, is that it? Oh god,
total compensation. And then you get Grace coming in on one side with the Jeep and Billy coming in on the other side on his motorcycle, and he's like, fuck. He knows he's screwed because he's surrounded now. And he's got this curl, and he's got his car, and he's got a switchblade, and he's like, fuck.
Yep.
and they're talking with him, trying to convince him of what he should do. And the teacher's like, no, you can't go beat him up because she's such a fucking pacifist. You can't beat him up, but you can dump his
He's
car
like, I gotta do
in the lake.
something.
Yeah,
I gotta do something. Yeah, so you can dump his car in the lake, and he's like,
I like
wow,
that.
For a pacifist, you're not that bad.
Exactly. That's exactly what he said. He was like, whoa, you're gonna put his car in the lake. He did not want that dislocated elbow.
And he's like, yeah, do you want the dislocated elbow or do you want to drive your car in the lake?
Yeah.
Your choice. And that's how much of a fucking pussy he is. But I like her, the girl, like, she's topless at this point, right? Because they've cut off her bra and she's taken off her shirt and everything. And Billy's like telling her to get out of there. And she's like, are you going to look? And he's like, I might.
I'm not gonna lie, I might. I loved it. I might.
I mean, she's well endowed and she's, half naked there. It's like, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
I might.
Everybody else in the town has seen him. Why can't I?
Right. And there he goes. He chooses to drive his car into the lake. And
Bernard playing stuntman there. He did a good job.
Flailing around in the water, and he gets out, and then his dad shows up with the sheriff, and they get the tow truck and they pull the car out of there, and he's talking about how much the car costs and how much the damage is going to be, and why didn't you drive away? Why didn't you? And he's like, I couldn't.
And they're on the other side of it, so they can get a shot of them pulling it out.
Yeah.
Right, because when Barnett got out, he swam to the other side. I mean, he had to get away from the car because the car was going to pull him down.
I thought he got away and just got up on the closest side.
Well, you would think, right? But that's where Billy Jack is, right? Billy Jack's on that side, so you can't get up there. But yeah, so and now we get this awkward scene.
This hoe.
Where Martin
try to lay me?
Why didn't you lay me? Why haven't you tried to have sex with me? And he's like,
he's the nicest kid ever.
I want to know how special you are because I am a cuck and I don't fucking.
I watch Sesame Street and Electric Company, so I know the way to be.
Right. I know the birds and the bees.
So did I.
I want you to know how special you are and how much I really love you.
With an underbite.
So, he's baling hay and having the conversations with her, trying to
he's a gentleman, big time.
Totally. And and he's playing it right. I mean, you gotta do the slow burn, get that build up going, right? And she's totally buying it. And then for some reason she goes out to take skinny dipping in the river, and she just decides to just take a nap completely naked on the grass in the middle of
hippie.
Yeah, she's a total hippie
doing her hippie thing.
But then Bernard and Dino see her, and so they're like, hey babe,
they tie her up.
Want to take on the wild side. And you see Dino and he's like, did we really need to do this? And he's like, well, I've never had a woman before and I don't want to do this. And Dino's like, so then do we need to do this? So he's almost like a little bit of a conscience. He's trying to be a conscience for Bernard at this moment. And, then we flash back to Barbara. And this is where she loses the baby, I think.
Yeah.
And
because she was riding the horse and fell.
She's riding the horse and then she fell. And then
I blame that all on Martin.
they totally blame it all on Martin, and nobody can find Martin, and nobody can find the teacher. And they needed her to get there right away because she's the only one that can handle the situation because it's Barbara and she's wanted by, the law enforcement, and he's trying to protect the res. And she's in the middle of getting tied down, and
that was horrible. Oh my gosh. They're like, it's gonna go here? Wow.
Yeah, okay, so Born Losers also kind of went there too. I mean, that's what Born Losers was about in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
It was the biker sex cult type of thing. Yeah. And so, Billy Jack's used to beating up these guys, these horrible people. And then you get, she screams, and that's why they had to gag her, is because she did scream, and some of the girls heard it, and one of them found him and ran off Bernard and Dino. And then this is when she goes full on hippy dippy pacifist and says, "You can't tell Billy because of what it'll do to the school, what it'll do to the town. You can't tell Billy." And this girl's like, "How the fuck?
He's gonna kill everybody.
He's gonna fucking kill everybody." And she's like, "How the fuck do I get to keep this secret? Why do I have to carry this burden of keeping this secret for you to protect Billy?" And that's kind of an unfair ask, right? I mean, it's a lot. I mean, it's her story to tell, but at the same time, you're asking somebody who witnessed some of this to not tell anybody about what happened.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
she's thinking far into she's thinking about all the ramifications of all this. I'm like, okay, I get it, but damn, you just
this lends into that whole PTSD thing, right? Because that's a traumatic situation that she viewed. Right? And how she's supposed to live with it and not say anything about it.
Yeah, and she doesn't want to lose the school, and she feels like they will lose the school if Billy finds out and kills everybody.
Yeah.
And so that's her thought process on it, but at the same time, she's pushing everything down, so it's forcing a PTSD moment.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. And so this is again where we talk about the psychodrama of this situation. Yeah. That's the key word for this movie, I think.
Matthew, Ed, I gotta go, you guys.
Oh, dude, we're almost there. Thank you, man, for coming to sit with us.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me, man. Next time we'll stay longer if we can.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Well, have a good night.
All right, man. See you guys.
And then we get, she shows up back at the hospital, and there's Billy, and they're talking, and she's not making eye contact with Billy. So Billy knows there's wrong.
Yep.
And he's like, "Well, what the hell's going on?" It's like, "I know there's something wrong."
Yep.
And the other girl's like looking away. She's like, she's trying not to tell him, but she's totally telling him.
Yep.
And then we have the burial or the ceremony for the baby that passed.
Yep.
And they do a whole thing, and they do that as a grieving ceremony. And then we get to this part here where Martin is sitting outside moping, and Billy comes out and says, "Why the fuck are you out here moping? You should be in there comforting that young woman in her time of crisis. You're just thinking about yourself." And he's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? That wasn't my baby. She's not my girl. This isn't a thing for me.
Yep.
So, he's thinking on his side, and Billy's thinking, just fuck there for her.
Yeah.
She would appreciate your presence.
Be your friend.
You're supposed to be her friend.
Yeah, because she was there for him when he got in the hospital, right? From the accident, or the horse fall.
That's right. Yeah. Yep. And then here fucking moping and not being, and as Billy calls him out, not being a man. Not doing the right thing in this situation, which is a hard situation, but at the same time, it's like you got to show compassion and love.
Yep.
which is the hippy dippy model, right? That's what this movie's about. Like I said, not all of it's wrong. And here comes the deputy at the pot at the barbershop, trying to get a posse together. Ooh, shoot.
Oh, Matthew fell again.
There we go. I was trying to read Largo's comment there. Sorry. I think that, you know, they got into some of those deep concepts for the film for sure. And that's why this film is more than what it seems. Every time that you go back to it, there's little pieces here and there that really kind of stem into what this movie was trying to say. And yeah, it can be preachy, but at the same time, there's some good stuff in here, and that's why it was such a success.
Yeah, I think it was done, you know, as a teaching type of movie, but with a good story and some good action. So it wasn't just you know, an out and outright just preach it, you know, type of thing. Because the whatever the hell its name, and Laughlin probably knew that it wasn't gonna. If they just would have done all the preachy stuff, it probably wouldn't have been accepted.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, and it's the same way with movies today. You see the same thing.
Yeah,
we have to put some big name actors. We have to put some action scenes, and then we can preach the rest of the movie.
Yep.
Well, you can't if you haven't developed the characters.
Right.
This movie developed the characters. They developed the story, and you know, whatever side of the aisle that you're on, you can find some interesting points to latch onto in this movie. Because there are a lot of things that they talk about that are important conversations to have. Whether you agree or not, they're important conversations. And I think that's why this movie has lasted as long as it has, even though it's so obscure. It's still in the back of some people's minds because of things like the fight scenes we saw. And whether we know it or not, it did manipulate us into thinking maybe a little differently about certain things.
Oh yeah.
So,
and you know, as a young guy watching this, like I said, the only thing I remember is Billy Jack's awesome karate moves and shit, right? But it's like, I'm sure in my subconscious watching it, you know, probably the 15, 25, 30 times I watched it on a Saturday, you know, maybe not from start to finish. There's probably things that went in there that I didn't even realize went in there, right?
Yeah. I mean, you think about the cultural acceptance of people who are different from, right? You think about when you should be able to spot these overt racist things or these overt biased things that are coming out and say, wait, hold on. These are still human beings. We need to treat them as human beings. If nothing else, that's what, whether we agree with the lifestyle or whatever, that's what we should pull from this, is that they're still human.
Yep.
And oh, well, I could go on a whole other thing. I'm not going to go there. But anyway, you know, there's a whole other thing about acceptance and who people are. And, you know, some people take religion to an extent that isn't what it was intended.
Right. Yep.
Next scene we have is they're coming up and they're trying to do a raid, a posse on the school, and the sheriff's there, and the sheriff says, "The fuck you are.
Yep.
You're gonna have to go through me." So the sheriff is standing up and saying, "Hey, this is wrong. You know it's wrong. You're gonna have to kill me to prove how wrong it actually is. You know, one, reservation. Two, you shouldn't be storming the castle like this because it's not your job. It's not your place. This isn't the right time. You know, these people have their own things. This is stupid."
Yeah.
And he shows it back in their face, and they're like, fuck, they back down. And they decide, well, Martin's down at the barn. He's always doing stuff down at the barn. So we can probably get Martin. Let's go get him. And so they get Martin. They go down to the barn and they kidnap him because he's all by himself. And the girl that was with him who went down there to say, hey, Martin, why don't you come up and join us? And she gets drawn into the mix.
Yep.
And so we're out here holding Martin hostage for the deputy's daughter. We're trying to make the exchange. And, they're thinking this as a hostage exchange situation. It's not the best. It's not the ideal, but that's where we're at. We're going to trade this little Indian boy for my white daughter. And, everything will get back to normal once we get the natives on their res and we get the white people on their territory. It's all about segregation. Meanwhile, the sheriff is talking to the teacher saying, hey, this is getting out of hand. What do we do?
Yep.
The sheriff is saying violence is happening. Violence is going to continue to happen. How do we come to a solution here? And she's not willing to budge on anything. It's like people are going to do what they're going to do. And, she's
just another lesson, because there's a deep lesson in like the whole, like even ancient teachings that, it's okay to be peaceful until there's a time for peace not to be, the way. Right. So it's like, it was kind of along the lines of that. Right. It was like the time for peace it's too late for that because there's already violence happening. Let's figure something out. That's.
And so, I don't, in this instance, I don't respect her opinion because I follow one of my martial arts teachers' philosophies on the thing. A pacifist can be a pacifist all that they want, but if they don't know how to maim or kill in the blink of an eye and then choose not to at the point of impending destruction of the enemy, they are not a true pacifist. That is a quote from my jiu-jitsu teacher. And it comes down to the fact that if you don't have the skills or the ability to commit violence, choose not to, you cannot be a true pacifist. Because if you believe in nonviolence and you're never any harm and you never learn how to harm, it's not a choice for you. You don't know how.
Yeah, you're just weak then.
You're just sheep at that point. Right. And so that's where I disagree with this woman's philosophy a little bit. And I agree a little bit more with Billy Jack.
Yeah, that's the whole point, right? Billy Jack is trying to choose to be peaceful, even though he can kick your ass and take you out anytime he wants to. But he's choosing to try to be peaceful when he can be. Yeah.
And that's honestly why I like the first two movies. After that, I don't know, but the first two, I think I can hold the pieces to. And I like that they actually showed the sheriff as being a peace officer and not just a hothead. Largo, absolutely true. He is a logical thinking man, and he's thinking through all these problems and learning how to deal with them. That was my teacher's philosophy. That's what I believe from my martial arts training and working with law enforcement and everybody else. It comes down to the same thing. It's like, if you don't have the sheepdogs to protect the sheep will get slaughtered by the wolf every time. But the sheepdog is willing to sacrifice his life for the pack, for the herd, for whatever their task is. And it's the same concept, and it's what Billy Jack is doing here, and ultimately that's what he does, right? As we get to that, because we have the hippie chick who finds her way to a rifle and knocks everybody down a peg and says, "Martin, you need to get out of here." And Martin's like, "I'm not going to leave without you," and she's like, "Get the hell out of here! I don't want to leave without you. Go away."
Yep.
Basically, she's saying, I don't care. You need to go. And so she is totally protecting him on his way out, which is totally a female alpha wolf situation.
She was a badass.
She wasn't going to take it. You know, she was the Miss Up Yours, right?
Yep.
You know, she wasn't going to take it from anybody. And there's Martin. He's like, no, you need to come with me. And he's like, if I don't hold these guys off, they're going to fucking kill you.
Yep.
And he's like, okay, I guess. And so he takes off, and she gets tackled by the guy sneaking up behind her. And then, you know, Bernard takes off in his Corvette. He's going after her. Somehow he got that goddamn thing fixed so fast.
Yeah, looks brand new.
Looks brand new. I mean, did his daddy buy him a new one, or did they actually fix the one that he had? I don't know. But either way, I love Corvettes. My uncle had 8 of them, and he collected them. He raced them. I love Corvettes. And that actually looks like, I didn't say this before, but that looks like an astronaut Corvette. So the astronauts in the 60s, 70s, about this time, they all went out and bought. If they went up in space, they came down, and with the money that they got from NASA and everything else, they bought gold Corvettes. They all had a series of gold Corvettes. And it's freaking cool because I see that again. Oh, that's Neil's Corvette. But
I can't imagine. Like, oh, that's pretty gold. That color was kind of popular back then, so I guess that's Saturn gold.
The finest fiberglass money can buy. Better than a fucking Mustang. I'm just saying. It had a better 0 to 60 ratio as a Corvette. I didn't much care for the 70s Corvettes as much as the 60s, and then much later. But the 60s Corvettes were fucking awesome, in my opinion. But I'm not a Ford fan. And here we go. They're talking to her about what's going on. And there's Bernard running down that poor boy in a pickup truck trying to get away. Then we got the deputy and Posner talking with the girl, and they know they really can't hurt the girl, but they're like, what the fuck do we do with this girl? And then here comes Billy.
Yep.
Comes in and basically...
this is the scene where the sheriff's like, I'm going to shoot this girl in the head. And he's like, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he threatens her, and he's like, I'll kill her. And he's like, go ahead.
Yeah.
You know, you know, I'm going to kill you next. Yep. You know, you're going to die. Either way you look at it, you're going to die here. and the deputy's like, fuck.
Yeah.
It may be, Largo. It may be. I don't know. And there he is. There's another one of those poses, man. They got some good framing on Tom for some of these shots with that hat and that jacket and the faces that he's making. I love it. Yeah. You know, that right there, that's the Billy Jack pose. And there he is. And then we've got the sheriff, and they're looking for Martin. Martin's gone missing. They don't know where Martin is. So he gets together some guys, and they're going to go out and look for him.
I think what Largo was saying is that I think Ed's a Mopar man because I'm a Dodge guy. So.
Oh, okay.
But I'm definitely not a Ford guy, so we can trash Ford all day long. I'm good with that.
Found on road dead. And then here we go. You know, the sheriff's just talking with the deputy and everybody, and they're like, okay, what's going on? And then what do we find?
Oh, yeah, find Martin's crutch.
And then we find Martin. Martin was murdered by those kids.
Yeah.
There's Poe. He's like, this may be a problem. Allison, you did decide to join us. Thank you for stopping by. We appreciate you coming and checking it out. I know this is not one of your favorite movies, even though politically it aligns with a lot of your stuff that you're talking about, but we appreciate you coming by and enjoying this slog that it is to get through Billy Jack. And we have acknowledged that we honestly only remember those fight scenes at the beginning and the end of this movie, and the stuff in between. While it may shape our opinions on some things, because it does have some good concepts, was very hard to get through. The 70s was very slow at rolling everything out. But here's Posner, and Posner's processing, and now they're processing Martin. You know, they're going through that whole process of what do we do now, and this is where basically Billy Jack tells him, well, yeah, I know she was raped, and she admits it. And she says, well, I know now for sure. Yep. You know, he wasn't sure before, but he's sure now that you know, that unfortunate incident took place. That blue sweater is sweet. Yeah. But so Billy's, you know, talking with her, and she's trying to calm him down, because you know what he's going to do. He's going to go kill everybody.
Yep.
You know, I mean, he hurt the people that he cares about. He hurt the people he's trying to protect. You know, he hurt the town, and he's like, I'm going to go fucking kill these people. And she's trying to pull him back.
He looks like Tommy Lee Jones in that picture.
He does, doesn't he? Yeah. There's a couple scenes where I'm like, yeah, that looks like Tommy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always thought that too. There's something, and of course he finds, you know, Bradley Cooper on there. What is that? That's not a white chick.
Yeah.
So he's sneaking around with some multicultural people, and Billy's not having it, and he's coming in and threatening him, and he pulls a gun. As Bradley Cooper. Oh, wait, no, not Bradley Cooper, but his lookalike.
Probably his dad.
And he's like, boom, you're done, dude. You're done. Good night. And there's that picture of Jesus right there above it, too. So trying to implement that hypocrisy that's going on there. And, you know, then he's, you know, saving the girl, getting Barbara out of the situation she's in, trying to protect her as much as she can. And then they start taking fire, and he protects the girl. The girl's, you know, behind the wheel well. They're taking fire. He gets his rifle ready, kind of sees what's going on, you know, and then he takes a shot. There he is. He's firing over there, trying to keep him pinned down. Billy takes a shot right between the eyes.
Great shot. No blood splatter. Just a red dot with some mercurochrome spread around it.
Well, you know what? And quite honestly, you know, if you know bullet wounds, that's kind of the way it happens. There's maybe a little bit more blood on the, you know, or a little bigger entry wound, but the exit wound is the bigger part.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, that man is done. And now they know. The sheriff knows. His deputy's been murdered.
Yep.
And, you know, this is going to become a bigger deal. I'm all for a classified Billy Jack. I'm just saying.
I'd take a 6-inch Billy Jack for sure.
Hell yeah, I would. You know,
Tony, get on that.
I would prefer a Billy Jack over Rambo. You know, I didn't look at those Rambo figures, but I would have taken a Billy Jack. And knowing is half the battle. And here we are. We're discussing in front of the church.
Yep. It's more symbolism. This movie had plenty of that.
Symbolism. And there's Billy Jack. They all hold up in this old church. Doesn't look like a church, but whatever. And that chair doesn't look like it's there. But anyway, they're talking back and forth, and he's trying to protect this girl, and this girl doesn't know what she wants to do. She doesn't know who she really is at this point, what decisions she has to make. You get the sheriff and the doctor. They're trying to talk reason into Billy. Ed, how do you think about that one there? Billy Jack.
Lawrence.
You lose. Well, whatever. To each their own. The sheriff's trying to talk him down, trying to talk him out, and say, "Hey, what's going on? Let's get you out of here. Let's figure it out." The teacher goes in there and talks to Billy and tries to rationalize with him, and he's just not having it. I mean, you have all these people come in and talk to him, and he's pretty set in his ways.
Yeah, I think that goes back. That shows like a lot of like they're trying to show like he doesn't quit things, right? Like he's not going to just give up, right? Because he knows he's been fighting the system for so long as a Green Beret, and now is on the res doing his thing.
Yeah, and he's not giving up, and he's listening to the people around him, and he's trusting the people around him, and he wants to honor their decisions. And this girl is trying to run away from her dad, trying to run away from the situation, and he's honoring that in this situation. So he's put himself in this spot because that's what he believes this girl wants, and it's what this girl believes she wants, what Deborah thinks she wants to do at this point.
Well, her dad's dead at this point, so there's no one to go home to. So
right, and so she doesn't have to worry about the beatings or anything else. And so the discussions, and then feds. So we get some enforcement units with helicopters and stuff showing up, and they're trying to usurp the sheriff's control. Got that guy with that big ass fucking cannon right there. I don't know what the fuck that is. And it looks like a fucking flare gun.
It's got to be a flare gun.
It's got to be a flare gun. It's got a fucking stock on it.
Yeah.
But you got all these people, and the sheriff's trying to calm them down. Like, look, you're not going to stop Billy Jack. This is not the way to do it. We need to talk him out and find out what's going on. And they go into attack, and Billy's defending himself, shooting out the windows, and getting his last stand on. Got the cops coming in there, their guns ablazing, trying to blast him, and finally we get
shot, right?
So the girl gets shot, yeah. And then the doctor and everybody comes in, and she's not doing real well. So she got hit. Billy's fine, but he got everybody to come in and talk to him again. So it's more talking.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't know any law enforcement that will allow this to happen this many times.
Right.
To allow negotiations to occur with people that he knows and is intimately in contact with, rather than a unbiased negotiator. But at the same time, this allows the discussion to happen. So not realistic, but it's
totally story driven.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And so they go out there, and, Billy's like, okay, I'll let him in. Billy doesn't know what to do. It's like, fuck. I mean, we're all going to die, or I don't know what the fuck's going to happen. And they're trying to give him a way out. And so he negotiates, and he's like, look, the girl's given up. So she's decided, I'll come out. And he's like, okay, this is what we need. The school's got to be funded. So he's sticking up for the school, and he wants to make sure that they're funded and that this girl's protected. The girl will be turned over to the school at the end of all this, and that this was all his doing or whatever. So he's willing to take the brunt of all of the damage so that the school will survive, so that this girl will survive, and the girl will be in an environment that is more conducive than a foster care system or whatever else. You know, so he's become a martyr in this situation. The morning comes, they come out and tell him, hey, he's in the morning comes, and he surrenders himself. And law enforcement starts taking him away, and then everybody does the fist up.
Yeah.
They're like,
power fist.
Fight the man. And they trying because they understand the sacrifice that Billy's making. You know, they're paying. Yeah, it totally sucks, but it's better than him being dead.
Yep.
And it's better than some kind of resolution, because this is a more real resolution. Somebody's got to pay for what was done.
Yep.
And Billy's willing to pay that price, but he also wants the truth to be known. So he's going to go and testify. In the next two movies, Billy Jack Goes to Washington and The Trial of Billy Jack kind of go over that stuff, where this whole incident is laid bare for what it is. And it shows a deficiency in law enforcement and understanding, and government interaction with the res, and government interaction with people who are different. And so this brings a lot of conversation to a lot of things. And, you know, for as hard as this movie is to get through, there's talking about it and everything else. There's a lot of good things that came out of this movie, I feel.
Oh, for sure. I mean, especially with as popular as it was, like, you know, there was a lot of people that saw this for the lessons that are buried amongst all of the, you know, the other things that are in this movie, right? It's like,
yeah, I mean, there are, like I said, there are a lot of truths in this movie.
Yeah,
that have shaped me, have shaped you, have shaped the people who watched it on Saturday afternoons, looking for those martial arts scenes, where those little seeds get planted, and you're like, yeah, that's not right.
Yeah,
we can't do that. This is inappropriate behavior. These are things that we need to be aware of and say no to. There are things that we need to stand up for morally, ethically, whatever, you know, that transcend religion, that transcend all these other things. They're like, no, this is a human being. They have rights to exist.
Yep.
You know, and for me, that was a big part of why I like this movie so much. Even with the hard, difficult parts to watch, how slow it is, but that's a vehicle of the 1970s, right?
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, I just watched even the movie The Legend of Boggy Creek, right? Was like a typical 70 movie where it was like very, very slow. Even though that was like a monster movie, it was still like, it was like, just, you know, let's build up the whole thing that's going on, build up the whole thing with the monster in the town, and then build it all up about the guy that's been hunting it and all this other stuff. And it's like, you know, that's how it was in the 70s, right? Everything had a slow burn.
Yep. And, you know, I mean, as much as I appreciate Taxi Driver and Kings of Comedy, you put those two movies together, and I prefer the Joker. I don't know that the sequel is going to be any good, but I appreciate the Joker for what it was, for combining those movies into telling a story that's prescient. You know, mental illness is a serious topic that we need to discuss.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
You know, and that's why, again, also like why I like the Billy Jack movies and why I like Rambo, the first one. Because First Blood, yeah. Because it dealt with trauma that we're not engaging with. And that's why Born Losers and Billy Jack and the first Rambo movie deal with that, and the Joker movie and Kings of Comedy.
I can tell you to this day, the government struggles with effectively treating PTSD in America.
I agree. I mean, they won't look at alternatives.
No.
There's been a significant amount of evidence that's been presented with some psychotropics that have helped people with PTSD, and they won't even look at it because it's a psychotropic.
Yeah. Well, there's also other therapies like the soldiers up in Canada, right, that are diagnosed with PTSD. They get PTSD therapy dogs given to them by the government. That's fully funded by the government. They've also investigated second generation PTSD, the effects that it has on the kids, and they get money compensation and treatment and stuff like that because of it. It's like, in America, it's like, well, it's just shell shock. We'll give you treatment for 2 years and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we really are on the shell shock model of things. Yeah. And I think it's the greatest disservice to the servicemen that we've ever had is that I understand we have young men that we need to prepare for tough situations, and we always have done it one way, and it's been successful. But at the same time, we could do more. We could do more to prepare them mentally for what's going on. And,
I can tell you,
the Japanese did a really amazing job with it, despite the fact that you might think they're fascist or whatever. But you watch Shogun and you see some of this cultural changing that happens in their military structure that helps with that.
Yeah, I also think a lot of the biggest problem that the U.S. military has is that there's no out processing, right? They have it, but what they do is bullshit, right? It's not like you go to war and you come home and you're just like, yeah, have fun, go out to the wild, have a couple drinks, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it, kid. Come see your therapist if you need to talk to somebody.
So I don't know. We're far enough in the stream, maybe.
Yeah.
In my job, I am not a therapist in that sense. I'm a physical therapist. I deal with people's injuries. So I get people better and make them functional. But in the process of doing that, I have worked with so many veterans to help them through some PTSD that they didn't even know that they had because of the injury. And help them unwind that and work through it. That's not my fucking job. But through the physical actions that we do in physical therapy, I have helped people deal with some of those situations on occasion that have created a positive development because of the lack of concern for some of these issues, for the lack of understanding of how they're connected physically and mentally with the entire person, and how you can move forward from that, and how you deal with that is greatly how you deal with the word pain. And I talk about it a lot with my patients, with all of my patients, on what pain actually is and how to process it. And I think that there could be a lot more education on that for people.
Yeah. We have a hard time in America, though, understanding we fully accept the physical pain part because it's something we can actually feel, right? We still have a hard time acknowledging the mental pain that's caused by trauma or any kind of mental illness in general, right? It's still talked about like it's not real. In some places it's talked about like it's not as bad as it really is, right? There's still people that hear people are depressed and they say, well, why can't you just be happy? You got a good life going on. Well, that really has nothing to do with it, right? It's like depression and happiness aren't hand in hand. It's not like, it's not a choice.
Yeah, they are totally not the same thing. And understanding what pain actually is, it's sad. How we deal with it as a culture, and how we don't understand, how a lot of people don't understand what it is.
Well, a lot of us grew up in the 70s and 80s where our dads told us the same thing their dads told them,
Yep.
Rub some dirt on it, walk it off. I mean, you know.
Well, yeah. So bury it, cover it
Right.
up, try
Yep.
to not deal with
Exactly.
it.
Yeah.
And so that's what people get used to, is the not dealing with it. Yeah. And Jim, you're hitting on a bunch of stuff there too. That's why I appreciate these movies. That's why, you know, they have affected me in my career, in the way I deal with a lot of my patients, and the way I deal with people in general, is that, you know, I understand people have their own trauma. Everybody's got their own trauma, and everybody deals with it in their own way. But there's a different way to think about it, to be able to let it go.
Yep.
You know, and that's the hardest part for a lot of people, is moving past the trauma and getting on with things, and realizing that the pain and the trauma that you had that's tied up in that event should not control the rest of your life.
Yep, exactly.
And I've seen this so many times with police officers, with military, with people in general, is they get caught in the moment, and they're trapped there in the moment, and they can't get away from the
that's
moment.
exactly what it is, right? When, unless you have, you know, the complex PTSD, which is, you know, like kids that go through like child abuse their whole lives, right? Where it's not just a single moment or a short period of time. That's exactly what happens, right? Your brain gets stuck in that moment, and just burying it and stuff. Yeah, you might be able to fake it during the daytime, but it always creeps up at some point, whether it was when you're sitting alone, when you get drunk, when you fall asleep, whatever it is, it's there, right? And It needs to come out. And that's why it comes out, because it wants to get out.
Yep. Exactly right. And the analogy that I think about all the time, and that I try to convey to patients, is the fact that there are no pain sensors in your body. It is neural input that get transmitted to the brain, and the brain interprets that input based on past experience. And so, for instance, when a man's walking through the woods and he feels a twig brush against his leg, and he doesn't think anything of it, and he's walking along, he's going through his hike or whatever, and then he realizes, oh shit, I've been poisoned, I'm gonna die. Goes to the hospital, he gets the antivenom, and he survives, right? Because he was bit by a snake. It wasn't a tree branch.
Yep.
But next time he's walking through the woods and a tree branch touches his leg, he falls down screaming in pain and grabs his leg and cannot stand up, because he's in so much pain, because he thinks he's going to die again.
Yep.
Because that's how the brain processes that information. It has turned that sensation up so high that he can't get out of it. And so what we do is we try to teach the patient, this is not doing damage. This is part of the healing process. You need to understand it. You need to feel it, because we need to touch it. You need to move it so that you can get better. And we say motion is lotion, movement is medicine. If you are stuck, you're not going to get better. You have to move. You have to touch, tease, nudge these things of pain that cause you pain.
What's the first thing you do as a kid when you hurt your arm or something, right? You don't move it, right? You just want to hold it still, because when you bend that elbow back again, it's going to hurt like a son of a bitch, and you know it, right? So then your brain's just like, yeah, just don't move your elbow. You're going to be fine. But you can't hold your elbow still forever.
Right. Exactly. And so you have to move it. And eventually you start to move it. And then some people get stuck in the mode that every time I move it, I'm going to hurt. And so they associate that. And so every time they move their elbow, they hurt. Even if there's nothing wrong with the elbow, they still say, oh, that fucking hurts every time. And it's because of what's happened in the past. And you're not able to disassociate those two things. Yep. And so I spend a lot of time trying to help people disassociate. It's like, look what you can do now.
Yep.
Look what you said you couldn't do before that you can do now. And so teaching people that it's okay to move, it's okay to do these things.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. And, you know, the nightmares, like Largo's talking about, those are things that you can't unsee, things that you have seen that you cannot unsee.
Yeah.
And that is trauma too. That is just as much trauma as a physical trauma. You know, whether it happened to you or not, doesn't matter. You saw it happen and you understand the ramifications of that. And at some point you need to have the discussions or the understanding to move past it and to understand that it's okay that you survived.
That's one of the biggest things with a lot of guys, especially like from Vietnam that have PTSD. They saw their buddy shot. They saw the dude sitting next to them just get blown up. And it's like, why am I the guy that made it out? Right.
Yep.
They have a really bad value problem, like where they don't feel their value. And then they got the horrific scenes that you, like you said, you can't unsee them. Right. And anyway, we taken this to a really dark spot. So,
well, I appreciate the discussion because honestly, that's what this movie's about. That's what Rambo is actually about.
Oh yeah, absolutely. 100%.
It is about PTSD. It is about these concepts of learning to deal with the world as it's different from what it was over there.
It's kind of funny. Like you watch First Blood, right? And First Blood, you can tell is a very dramatic, very PTSD oriented film. And then they just took Rambo and turned him into a superhero after that, right? So it's like you got First Blood, which is like its own movie, and then you got Rambo, which is, you know.
Yeah. So it got back to that later on, I think.
They tried to.
With the Southeast Asian story that he did in the movie, was it Rambo? The one that's actually titled Rambo?
Yeah, I think that's the one. Yep.
That one did a fairly good job of going back to it. Hey, Heavy Metal Toy Box, I appreciate that. You know, that's one of the reasons why I want to talk about this movie. But at the same time, there's a lot of stuff involved with it, and I'm glad Ed could be here. I'm glad Tony could be here. I wish she could have stayed a little bit longer, but I understand we have
adulting calls.
Adulting calls, yes. And as I have to get up early in the morning, and I don't know about you, but there's stuff to do.
Yeah, I'll be up at 5 a.m. like usual. It doesn't matter.
We really appreciate you guys joining us. Appreciate the discussion that we had. I encourage comments on here to say, hey, you know, dealing with their experience. Jim, I really appreciate you coming by and saying hi. Toy Box Metal, I appreciate you coming by and hanging out with us the whole time. Allison, I don't know if you popped in and out, but we appreciate that.
And hopefully Terrence is making his way safe to Toylanta.
Yeah. Be safe. Be safe on your way to Toylanta. Axion, do you have things coming up? Things going on? More streams?
Let's see. Next Tuesday will be episode 2 of Toy Tuesdays with Mr. Wonderful and myself. So we'll be episode 2 of that. We're going to figure out the topic tomorrow and make a thumbnail and all that fun stuff. So got that coming up. And of course, Saturday night, I'll be on Oz's Saturday Night Clubhouse. So Sunday, you know, is Hella Dope Sunday. And then Monday's a rambling with some guy named Punk.
Yeah, please join us for Toy Ramblings with Punk and Evening with a Friend on next Thursday. I forget who he's having on exactly, but he's got some scheduled up for the next 3 weeks. I think he's got people scheduled. So he's working up to Joe Fest. I think he's going to have Ed on right before Joe Fest. He's talking about, you know, maybe some people from a company we might know coming on. So just a little hint there. And you know, you can find me at Mamu's Action Figure blog. You know, I post every day. I try to post on my secondary account too. And I love taking pictures of toys, so I'll continue to do that. And we thank you guys. And have a good evening. We will see you soon. Thank you very much.